How did your affair start? She found a tank top in the laundry that wasn't her size. She threw it at my face, said I hoped she was worth it, and stormed off. Turns out it was her shirt, that I shrunk, because I'm bad at laundry. My wife found a hairband on the living room floor that wasn't hers. We don't have daughters and no female friend's family had visited in quite a while. Thankfully she trusted me so I didn't get a crazy accusation like yours, but it was definitely a weird awkward mystery for a while. Then a couple weeks later I was telling the story to some friends and my buddy who sometimes comes over to watch football goes, "Oh yeah, that's probably my daughter's. I keep them in my pockets for her and it probably fell out when I was over for the game." Mystery solved. Oh man, what a relief to have some closure, as it was not a good feeling having zero explanation for it. Bold of you to think I'm capable of seducing not one but two people. When my wife found a napkin in my pocket and swore it was not her lipstick. I had no idea how it got inside my pocket. After months of her thinking I was cheating, at lunch one day I was eating a sandwich and drinking a red Gatorade. After wiping my mouth with the napkin, I realized it was the same shade as my evidence of an affair napkin. Edit. Wow, thanks for the love. This happened after literally a few weeks of marriage. I married this woman only after knowing her a few months. 26 years later we are stronger than ever, but when I bring this up, I swear I feel she's not 100% sold on it. Oh really? Who the duck is this Gatorade bitch and why is she in your mouth? Don't mind me, just looking for my dad's comment. My dad cheated on my mom after my older sister was born. It was rocky for my parents for a few years after that, but ultimately my mom forgave him and they eventually had me. Then around the time I was 10, my dad had another affair, my parents got divorced, and my dad remarried about a year later. I didn't know any of these details at the time they split up. Last year, I'm 29 now, while having a heart-to-heart with my sister about something else, she asked me if I ever knew about our dad's affair and told me everything she knew about it. It really contextualized a lot for me. The larger than average age gap between me and my sister, the strange feelings I eventually recognized as guilt in my dad's behavior when I would see him, and how truly kick-ass my mom was dealing with all that extra baggage while she was raising me as a single parent. Affairs can be extremely painful for everyone involved. I'm proud of the person I am today, and I know my parents' divorce had a huge impact on me, but I definitely wish that my dad's affairs had never happened. I learned most of this between 16 and 20. My father talks in his sleep. One night my mom climbed into bed a bit later than him and he started mumbling another girl's name. Mom asked him if he was cheating and in his sleep he answered yes. The next day Mom went to the girl's house and asked her, she confirmed it. While my dad was at work, Mom packed up all his stuff and canceled all their wedding plans. A few days after kicking him out she found out she was about 8 weeks pregnant with me. My father tried to claim she cheated and was trying to baby trap him. The whole family laughed at him when I was born and clearly resembled him. 20 years later I get a phone call from my stepmom saying she had kicked him out 2 weeks earlier. She'd given him time to tell everyone himself before she started making calls. She caught him receiving texts from a stripper at 2 a.m. I blasted him for the disrespect he showed my stepmom, for the disrespect he showed his children, and then for the cherry on top I pointed out that the girl was my age, which made him a predator. My father is a toxic piece of shit. None of his kids have spoken to him in almost 10 years, he's never met, or meeting, his grandchildren, and even his parents have cut him out of their lives. It didn't. She just thinks it did. Which is really annoying. Oh shit dude. I've been there. Got divorced over it. Over something that never happened, but it's 7 years later and she still thinks it did. Same. Then a month after the divorce, I find out she's been on Bumble a year before the divorce. I'm still blamed for an affair and she plays the victim with all my friends. I don't have any friends anymore. Lamau. Ah, classic projection. Sorry you've been through this. Happens. If they were my real friends, they would have listened to my side then decided. But you know how people jump to conclusions. My best friend in the world, a man I had known and loved like a brother for over 30 years, had an affair with my now ex-wife. I would have been prepared to lose a few friends, but him? Never. That really sent me spinning. Haven't spoken to either of them in 3 years. I can say one thing for sure, they deserve each other. I was stuck in a non-physical marriage with a hoarder. Rats were living in the dryer, as example, who didn't keep up with house repairs. Spent 4 months drinking bottled water because the well wasn't safe without work. Couldn't get out because I was 20 kilometers from anywhere, was given a car that didn't run. Coworker usually picked me up for work, or I walked to the closest carpool lot. Cracked under the lonely stress when coworker found me attractive. Turns out my ex was really closeted, hence the hoarding and inability to function. I wasn't running on all cylinders after all that either. Hess got a roommate now, the house is fixed, I'm still with coworker after 10 years and we all get together so often. Prime example of people who really shouldn't have been married in the first place. He was too gay to function? Started out just keeping one thing in the closet, then the closet filled up, I can see how the chaos would start. I can see how you'd be reluctant to clean out the closet when you know what's at the back of it. Nice try, honey. She knows. She knows. And I know she knows. She walked onto my side of our shared balcony. I let her inside. She stayed a little while. She started coming over more often, nearly daily. So I started buying her some snacks, some toys. We'd spend as much time as we could before my neighbor noticed she was with me. Rainbow, I miss you 20. People will do anything for pussy. We met at work and started having threesomes with my wife. One thing led to another and we started hooking up without her. Thankfully my wife forgave me and we were able to reconcile. It was the dumbest thing I've ever done. If you're considering cheating, let me assure you, you will either get caught or, hopefully, be so consumed with guilt that you will rat yourself out. She started telling me about relationship troubles. We grew closer over time, sharing insecurities and whatnot. Eventually we developed feelings, on which we could not act. Eventually, those feelings became too strong and we caved. It lasted for 1,5 years, me trying to commit to this new thing we developed, her not completely able to let go. She jumped between me and the other. Eventually I realized my committing to and feeling for her were unhealthy. And I realized, too late, that I didn't want to be the person that made someone else cheat. It never did, but I couldn't convince the ex that it didn't. So here I am, a 42-year-old divorced dude trying to start over in the craziest timeline imaginable. Ever thought the ex was actually having an affair and wanted a clean way out? Never had an affair because I like to disappoint one woman at a time. I'm so burned out from disappointing women that there's no way I'd sign up for two simultaneously. Was once accused of cheating. Front passenger seat on my car was moved too close for any guy to sit and my then GF demanded to know who I'd had in my car. I told her it was Chris, a coworker. She came storming into my company the next day, demanding to see Chris. Imagine her face when she found out Chris was Christopher, a little person. He stood 4 feet 2 inches. I milked her apology for a decade. So, wait, you're just not allowed to have women in your car? I don't understand how the problem here is she ducked up because she thought a guy couldn't be short and not she thinks evidence of a woman just being in her boyfriend's car means Hess cheating. I read the personal columns of the paper in bed. Did she like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain? They met at a bar called O'Malley's to plan their escape. My wife let a friend borrow a hooded sweatshirt one evening while she had a fire and a few friends over. Her friend washed said hoodie and returned it. My wife washes it because she doesn't like her fabric softener. There was a pair of her friend's underwear stuck in the sleeve of the hoodie that came out in our washer machine. I get home from working and she accused me of cheating after a massive fight and me racking my brain. She called her friend and confirmed it's her black thong. Everyone immediately jumps to cheating. Username checks out. I finally got to say it. I met a married lady while at Myrtle Beach. She was in a crappy marriage, pina colada or two later we were talking. Yada yada. Ended up together for several years. I felt a little bad about the beginning situation, but it was the best years of my crappy life. And hers, I think. Miss her every day. Second wife cheated on me with her girlfriend and then another guy. Didn't bother me because we were in a bad marriage. Now, I'm happily single again. But you yada yada'd over the best part. No, I mentioned the bisque.